You're listening to Electrician Live with your host, Paul Abernathy. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to Electrician Live. My name is Paul Abernathy, your host. Thanks for taking the time to visit the podcast. So, first shout out real quick is mark your calendars. Mark your calendars, January 4th, 2020, we go live. You can call in. You can go to the website, electricianlive.com. You can see what's coming up on the show. You can recommend future shows. Talk to different people you recommend we contact. Get them to contact us. We'd love to have you on the show. Again, if you got Skype, just use Master the NEC to give us a call. Keep it clean, and we will talk all things electrician starting January 4th. Now, today's podcast is going to be about a topic that is really dear to my heart, and that is electrical injuries. And I'm a believer that we shouldn't have any electrical injuries, and people should be careful about everything they do. But sadly, we have statistics out there, and the Electrical Safety Foundation International, ESFI, puts out some data, and they use the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the BLS, for the fatal occupational injuries, CFOI, whatever you. And so, incidentally, if you ever want to get some really good data, although that's a lot of data, is go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The majority of it's free online, and it is amazing the amount of data they'll give you. And it's bls.gov. Incredible amount of information. And so, a lot of times we'll use other sites like Zippia and some of my other podcasts because they will break the data out for me and give me a good. I just don't want to go through and read all these damn databases. It's just incredible. So, for example, ESFI.org has come out with the latest statistics, and I'll say latest because these are 2017, so it ranges a 24-year period from 1992 to 2017, but they're going to focus, their data focuses 2003 to 2017, so again, the numbers change as we become more aware of electrical issues and we become more educated. We understand the safety involved in working with electricity, and it only takes a second. And, you know, as an electrician, the one thing that I really worry about is that do we cut corners sometimes? Are we pressured to cut corners sometimes in order to get the job done? Or let's just always have that conscience. Do what you'd want done to you and do it how you'd want it done in your house or your building or your structure. And let that be your mantra and just do it that way. And, you know, I'm not preaching. I'm just saying just take pride in what you do. It's you know what? I always tell people it costs more to do it twice than it is to do it once the right way. Okay, so if you keep that kind of mentality. So anyway, we're going to look at some statistics that are put out, and some of the statistics that are out are pretty shocking. Right? No pun intended, but there are statistics that are going to be out, and so we'll kind of look at some stats. Now, I will say, I feel like the industry is a lot more aware of electrical issues these days, that we're getting better, that there's way more things coming out. 70E is coming out. You know, people are aware of lockout tagout 120.1 section in FPA 70E. They understand the OSHA 29 CFR 1910.147. We understand those concepts. People understand personal protective devices, eyes and face protection under NFPA 70E under 130.7C3. I think they understand the OSHA rules a little better, again, under 29 CFR 1926.102. I think we get it, and I think we're getting better. Can more be done? Absolutely. Is any life lost? It shouldn't be. We shouldn't have any life lost when it comes to electrical. We should take all the precautions. So let's look at some of the statistics. Again, I'm not going to preach to you, but again, I want every one of the people. I help thousands of people. Literally, I think at this point, I think my student count, as I usually keep count, is well over 35,000 students that I've taught in my career, different training seminars and sessions. And online, since we launched masterthenec.com, I've literally, whether it's the Facebook page, whatever, helped literally thousands and thousands of people pass their exams and get into this trade. hopefully they take safety as serious as I take it. People ask me all the time, do I still practice lockout, tagout? Do I'm working on a luminaire or something? Do I turn the power off? Yeah, call me what you want. I do. I turn it off unless I have gloves on and something that's testing that I have to have power. There's no need to work on things live unless you're diagnosing something live, and then you need to have proper PPE. Don't take 120 volts for granted, okay? It only takes 1/10 of an amp to kill you, so take it seriously. Now, fatal injuries. In 2017, there were 136 electrical fatalities. That is way too many. And I don't know what the statistics are for 2019. Maybe we'll do an update on that if I can get in. Maybe ESFI will put out those updated statistics. I don't have the updated. That's it. And still, it's 136 electrical fatalities in 2017. Now, from 2016, that is a 11.6% drop in electrical fatalities. That's awesome. That is awesome. And basically, it returns to the levels that were in 2015. So we had obviously a spike in 2016. I hate to see that. But then we're going back down for 2015. Interesting to see what we would have in 2018. I'm sure the data's out there in 2019. I just don't have it right now. So we're just talking in general. It says, okay, so one of the other statistics, contact with or exposure to electrical current accounting for 2.6% of all workplace fatalities. In 2016, they accounted for 2.9%. And in 2015, it was 2.7%, and it was 3.1% in 2014, okay? So contact with or exposure to electric current accounted for, again, workplace fatalities. Those were the percentages. So a large percentage of those workplace fatalities came from exposure to electric current. We have to lower those numbers, okay? So that's just an awful high number for all my brothers and sisters out there that work in this trade, okay? Now, the statistics also come back and say contact with or exposure to electric current maintained its position as the 6th most common type of workplace fatality. It's number 6 on the list, okay? Those extension cords. And you know what? Also, I'm looking to have a guest on one of our future episodes of Electrician Live, solid grounds core extension cords, who have solved the number 1 and number 2 violation of OSHA on job sites. I'm hopefully going to have them on our show or one of our shows in the future so that we can talk about that, because I would assume they are so intimate with the workplace violations of OSHA that they would have some great insight to bring to this show. I've seen some of the videos and stuff on their cords. I never had one in my hand, but I do know as an electrician that a lot of times it's the cord that pulls out of the attachment plug, or that ground plug breaks off and people just keep using them. And so any kind of advancement in that is amazing, and that's what we're looking for. So hopefully we'll have them on a future show. And so they'll be able to talk more about that. Okay, next. Another interesting thing. Electrocutions account for all but one of those workplace electric fatalities. So, again, there's a difference between being shocked and being electrocuted. Electrocuted, you're gone. You're not coming back, okay? I have people do that all the time. They say, I got electrocuted, or somebody almost got electrocuted. Trust me. If you get electrocuted, you're gone. You're not coming back, okay? So, sadly, in those applications, those workplace electrical fatalities, electrocution of it, not the electrical fatalities where I shocked maybe and fell off a ladder or whatnot, and I fell hitting the ground. This was direct electrocutions based on those workplace electrical fatalities. Okay, so basically 135 of those electrical fatalities were a direct result of electrocution. That is unnecessary. With all the protection that we have today and all the training that gets done on job sites, every job site should have a morning 20-minute, 30-minute safety thing. Making sure that your gloves are okay, making sure that PPE is all right, making sure everybody knows the process. I mean, it should be incorporated by now, and if it is in your normal practice, that's awesome. You're awesome, okay? And so hopefully that's something that we can reduce. I mean, there's no reason to have 135 electrocutions based on statistical data for 2017 when it comes to electrical fatalities. It's crazy. Now, Another statistic here. It says 54% of all fatal electrical injuries occurred in the construction industry compared to 53% in 2016. So, of those fatalities, 54% of those were directly occurred in the construction industry. Now, that is an overall industry of occupancy or labor statistics, but 54% of those electrical injuries occurred in the construction industry directly. Now, these are trained professionals that should know how to deal with electricity, okay? And we still have the injuries. You're a professional. Train your helpers. I don't even know if there's a statistic on this about what level they are, but we're probably going to see when it comes to the age group, and that might tell us a lot, okay? Experience type of thing. So anyway, 54% of fatal electrical injuries occurred in the construction industry compared to 53 in 2016, so that went up. That would equate because the values did go up. Well, no, the values actually went down in 2016, so, God, that's not good. We need to do a little more education. It says the second leading industry in electrical fatalities in professional and business services was 20 fatalities. That's 15%. Okay. So it's the professional and business services. Okay. So not construction, but professional business services, whatever that might be, is different away from the construction. Professional, maybe in office buildings or other businesses type of things where they have storerooms or warehouses and they were exposed to energized parts and things like that. So construction directly related, 54%. And then, of course, in these professional and business services, they had 20 fatalities. So that equates for about 15%. Again, overall, that is way too much death, okay? That's 69% of fatalities in both combined construction industry as well as professional and business services. Okay, not a good ratio, and we shouldn't be having that. The next one is percentage value. We should look as electrical fatalities account for 5.7% of all electrical injuries. So, if that's only 5.7% of all electrical injuries, then that accounts for a lot of people that are getting shocked. Or if they're having electrical injuries where they might get shocked and they're blessed enough to fall off a ladder so they don't have that lock them on kind of thing where they can break away or fall. So there's other injuries that are going to be equated to electrical injuries, but only 5.7% of those electrical injuries are equating to the fatalities. That's awful. So on job sites, electricity causes other types of electrical injuries. Okay, that take place, whether you're burns or things like that. Okay, interesting. Okay, what other statistics that we have? Okay, younger workers. Okay, younger workers are more likely to experience electrical injuries. You think? So let's look at the values. This is interesting. From ages 16 to 17, these are your helpers, the summer help. And you know what? Be honest with you, I don't know many job sites. Electrical that are going to have 16 and 17-year-olds. But I do know that a lot of times for your vocationals, they'll have 17-year-olds that are in their second year or whatever, first year or second year of vocational school, for example, will go work on job sites. It's a work release program. So let's look at pure numbers here. Now, again, these numbers aren't made up by me. They're ESFI, and they come from the labor statistics. So from 16 to 17 years of age, they're likely to experience electrical fatalities at 5.4 times the average of all the other age groups. So, you know what? You are 5.4 times more likely to have an electrical fatality if you're 16 to 17 years old compared to any of the other age groups. Okay? Now, if you're 18 to 19, that value drops down to 2.4 times. So you're 2.4 times more likely to experience electrical fatality than some of the other age groups. And I can tell you that would be the folks that are over 45 who have that experience and they've learned a little bit about it. But you see the numbers kind of keep dropping. So the next age group was 20 to 24. Yeah, they're still still pounding their chest. They just got out of school, and they're 1.8 times, but They've learned a little bit from their journeymans. They've learned a little bit from their masters. They're learning their way in the trade. They're probably in an apprenticeship program. They're starting to get a little bit more educated. They're still a little bit green, but they are 1.8 times more likely to experience electrical fatality than the average age group. Okay, so age group being the age span of the electrician, say 16 all the way up to those that are over 45. So in this ratio, they're a little bit more higher chance of experiencing electrical fatality. Again, so 1.8 times. Now, 25 to 34, that value drops to 1.5 times more likely to experience electrical fatality. Okay, a little bit cocky still. 1.5 is higher than, that's, the average. And so then you get to the 34 through 44 age group. Now, by this time, you're either firmly a journeyman, or you've been working in your career, or you're a master, or you're a leadman, or you're a foreman, or whatever. You've learned you're still 1.1 times more likely to experience an electrical fatality than the average age work group. And so the interesting thing is, once you hit that 45 years of age and up, you're at or below the average, okay? So and I would like more people to be below that value, okay? Below 1 times or the equal or greater time, because everybody's subject to experiencing electrical fatality. But you become below the norm based on your knowledge and experience, and you're learning things like PPE and lockout tag. You get it. Or maybe you get randomly thrown into a situation at 20 to 24 where you witness somebody that gets electrical shocked and dies through electrical fatality, and then your age span jumps quickly, man. I mean, if you've ever experienced, and I have, if you ever experience it, boy, you get educated pretty damn quick, okay? And you know that you want to go home to your family. And again, you know what? I don't know how I should say it, but you're no lesser of a man or no lesser of a woman because you want to use the gloves, or you want to make sure the circuit is energized, or you want to always check it before you work on it. Always check it, and then when you're done, check it again. Don't be afraid to have it. Now, if your company won't give you a voltmeter or something to check it, and I don't trust the tickers, they're great, but if they won't give you this and you don't check circuits and know what you're working on, know the voltage you're dealing with, making sure that you're not using a meter that's only rated for a certain voltage class when you're working on something that's a higher voltage class and you're using the wrong meter, that's just ignorant. So it's really on you. I mean, you have to push back. You have to push it back against the owners or the foremans or the managers who just say, go do it, because they're not going to do it. Okay? I like to practice what I preach. I have multiple meters, and I test everything. I don't care. I don't take anything for granted. You can call me whatever you want to call me. I don't take anything for granted when it comes to electricity, okay? It'll bring the biggest man to their knees. The only reason that we pump 50,000 volts through a person on death row is because we like the shock and awe. We like to see the eyes pop out. We like to see them shake violently and know that we get the job done. Plus, the higher the voltage and everything and the way we do it, it's supposed to be so much quicker. I can kill you with 120 volts just as easy. It might take a little longer, and it might be more painful, and it might be cruel and inhumane. And I'm not going to say that some people don't deserve that, but I'm just saying criminals deserve that, not normal people. So, at the end of the day, that's why we do it. So, it only takes 1/10 of an amp. You can do this with Ohm's law. We know that GFCIs work at a nominal 5 milliamps, and so why would we have the GFI technology if we didn't understand the concepts of how you can lose your life so quickly if you don't understand things? Okay? Anyway, so first off, I'm going to pray that the numbers in 2018 came down, and I don't know the numbers, and I apologize. We'll have to do an updated show. It did drop from 2016. I'm hoping that we're more educated today and getting better. And we're training our apprentices, we're training our journeymen, blah, blah, blah. I'm hoping. Now, let's kind of go shift gears. That's fatal, and fatal is a bad thing. But people can get shocked severely and hurt so badly that they end their career. Now, I love the electrical career, and I can't imagine when I was pulling my wire and I was bending my pipe that I could have hurt myself that would have limited myself from the career that I love. and maybe burnt myself from an arc blast or an arc flash that totally took away my ability to raise my child or hold my kid or hug my wife or interact with my family. So to be honest with you, if I'm going to be careless enough to put myself in a fatal electrical incident and I survive, yet I'm disfigured for the rest of my life, be honest with you, I'd probably rather be dead. I'd rather be part of the fatal statistic, personally. You might agree, disagree, and those that have survived it have gone on to live great lives and are thankful and blessed, and I get you. I get it, and God bless you. Me, I know that if I can't do the things that I like to do or do the stuff that I feel I can do, and I'm not talking about if I just get defigured in my face, it's because I look ugly as shit anyway, so it doesn't matter, but I'm talking about my ability, if it blew an arm off or did something, you know what I'm saying? That would just affect me so badly. So what we have to also look at is the non-fatal electrical injuries, because they're critical. For me, it's critical. For me. Now, this is where the numbers really, really start to jump, and it's quite staggering. Now, we're using the same statistics because that's all I've got. In ESFI, I don't know that they have any updated current statistics. This is all I've got right now. And I'm going to real quick check and see if it has been updated. Just bear with me. No, this is it. This is what we've got. I say, let's just pray and hope that we got better. How about that? We got better. Okay. There's a lot of experts out there that teach NFPA 70E now. The companies are very serious about their training programs. Live work permits. I would say anytime somebody on a job asks you to work on something live, you ought to push back. You ought to push back and say, do we necessarily need to work on this live? Because there is no reason to work on anything live. And if you're going to have to do something for diagnostic purposes in order to be able to shut it down and test it before you shut it down, then use your PPE. Okay? Protective equipment. Use it. Because, again, you only get one life. Okay? And you have family, and we care. And you should be, you know what? Anyway. And if you're somebody out there that's saying, oh, Paul, you're being too melodramatic, this is an opportunity for you to unsubscribe and leave my damn webinar or my webcasts or my Facebook pages or whatever. Get your ass somewhere else, because I care about the industry. I care about the electricians. If you want to be so macho that you don't want to worry about these statistics, then you know what? Take your ass somewhere else, because I care about these statistics. Now, non-fatal electrical injuries. There were 2,210. I didn't make these numbers up. They come from the labor statistics. 2,210 non-fatal electrical injuries in 2017. Now think about this. Non-fatal means that it just didn't kill you, but you might never be able to work again. You might never be able to hold your child again, or do things with run with your kid, or play ball with your kid, or attend a recital, or see. Maybe it blinds you. It's incredible what could, the statistic. 2,210 non-fatal electrical injuries. An increase. Now here's the thing. Where the fatalities decrease from 2016 to 2017, you have an increase of 35% of non-fatal electrical injuries. So while I think you're doing better, you're not doing better, because it went up 35%. And it was a decrease, though, of 10% from 2015. My concern is that increase of 35%. Unheard of. Anyway, next statistic. 0.25% of all non-fatal injuries resulted in days away from work could be attributed to electricity during 2017. Okay? So 0.25% of all non-fatal injuries resulted in days away from work. And it could be directly attributed to electricity during 2017. The median number of days away from work for non-fatal electrical injuries. Now, this is important because we all have to make a living. So you had to take an average of these non-fatal injuries. What did they result in? And you know what? Companies, when they have projects, they're on a time crunch. They have to be done or they start to get penalized. So the average median number of ways from work due to these non-fatal injuries was 10. That was double the number in 2016. And that is the highest number since 2013. That means somebody got hurt on the job. It wasn't fatal, but they had to be away from the job. The average number, a median number, was 10. I mean, some were higher, some were lower, but the median number was 10. 10 full days away from work. All right? And the problem with this is that it's rising, and it shouldn't be rising. It should be going down. Now, when we look at the industry, and this is important because we can't just throw the dart and say just construction industry. We have to look at the industry as a whole when it comes to electrical injuries, because you have other things like technical services, professional manufacturing, and all these different types of industries. And so we have to look at the percentage. So I just can't harp on construction, folks. It's as a whole, we have to look at the industry. So as industries, the leading numbers of non-fatal injuries percentage-wise is number one, obviously, with 360 is of the construction industry. Okay? 360 in the construction. Again, 360 is more than I'd ever like to see. And that is 16% of that value. Okay? Is 16%. Now, real estate and rental and leasing, believe it or not, crazy number. 330, 15%. I have no idea what the hell they're doing. But real estate, I don't know if it's taking people on site, showing them property. I don't know why that number's so high. But 330 of the values for 2017, 15% of those non-fatal electrical injuries were equated to the real estate and rental and leasing. I'm not going to say I don't care about that part of it, because I'm more concerned with the construction and people that work in my trade. But that tells me that maybe we have an opportunity for those electrical safety folk to teach other industries by using these statistics. Okay? Go after those large real estate firms. I would be interested in understanding more about this and why it would be the real estate and rental and leasing industry, why that's so high. But that's not for me. It's just whatever. The next one is professional, scientific, and technical services. That would be like labs and testing facilities and professional thing. And so that is 290 or 13% of those numbers. There's 2,200. That's a high number. And so that's rather high of the industries. These are the leading numbers, okay, the top leading numbers. And so that is 290. That's 13%. And of course, then we have manufacturing, like at Encore Wire or South Wire. These manufacturing facilities where you have all this equipment that's exposed and it's kind of sometimes vibration and things come loose and whatever. So and it kind of equates to the construction industry, because we should be teaching these large industrial facilities and also electrical safety and dealing with stuff, because it's 260 of them dealt with the leading non-fatal electrical injuries. That's 12%. Okay, so these are high number, double-digit numbers for all of this. Now, again, I'm mainly focused on the construction, which is 16%. But, again, you can see that these numbers are rather high. Now, how about shocks? Because that's just non-fatal electrical injuries. Let's talk about shocks. Okay, so that's a number that all of us like to kind of sometimes wrap our heads around. So, shock incidents accounted for 1,330 non-fatal electrical injuries. So, of those 2,210 non-fatal, how many of them were shock-related? Okay, and that's important to us, shock-related. And that makes up a large group would be in the construction industry. So, shock accounted for 1,330 non-fatal electrical injuries, while burns that were associated with that shock accounted for 900. So let me tell you something. If you can have a non-fatal shock, non-fatal injury, but it results in a burn, and the values are so high, 900, then the numbers, while you might say the percentages seem low, if you do the math, you're going to see that of that value, they were critical enough to cause burns. And so that is 900 of them. So that's an astonishing amount of actual burns. And again, these aren't my statistics, okay? You can go to esfi.org, and those statistics are all there for you to read in black and white. Now, let's talk about the shocks. Break this down, because that is the shocks itself. Okay, so let's look here. So let's kind of break it down in the industry when it comes to that. So 140 shocks and 230 burns of this overall value, okay? Overall value were equated to the construction industry. So let's kind of put this in perspective. In the construction industry, we had 140 shocks, okay? And there was 1,330 non-fatal injuries, and 900 of those resulted in burns. But if we're looking basically for electricians, we're looking at the construction industry. 140 of those shocks and 230 of those burns that were associated with those shocks occurred in the construction industry. Okay, so we might have 140 shocks, but then we had 230 burns, which might not have been shocks, might have been arc blast. All of this is dealing with the construction industry. So you can have a shock that doesn't result in a burn, right? And then you can have a burn that could have been resulted in the incidental energy from an arc blast or an arc, fault, a bolted fault condition, okay? Which you didn't get shocked, but you had the result of the blast. Wow, incredible. Now, what about the utility industry? Well, they had 40 shocks and 60 burns occurred in their utility industry. Quite a bit less. Again, a lot of times the utility a lot of them have a lot of intensive training. I know that there's a place up here in North Texas that is devoted directly to utility training utility workers, and they have a healthy respect for the amount of voltages that they deal with, right? So anyway, so you see the numbers there. 230 burns for the construction industry is way too damn high, okay? And I don't know how severe those burns are. That is way, way, way too high than what we need to have. Hell, 140 shocks for the construction industry is way too damn high, okay? Look before you touch. Test before you get involved in it. Those are just some simple practices, okay? What do we say when you're crossing the street? Look both ways before you cross. As an electrician, before you touch, before you get involved in something, test it, check it, make sure you have the proper protection on. It just takes a second, okay? We can drop these numbers down. And if you're being pressured to do something, then you need to silently. We got whistleblowers, that's a lot in the news right now, whistleblowers. My ass would be a whistleblower. I don't care if you call me a snitch. I don't give a damn. I'm going back home at the end of the day. My boss is not going to tell me to do something that's unsafe because I'm going to turn around and say, you do it. Would you do that? No. Okay. Now, there is occasions where you have to work on stuff live. I get it. There's stuff that are critical and can't be shut down. But when you do it, you have to have proper PPE and you have to do it right. Protect yourself, man. Anyway, just some good information here. So again, just some good data. I'm not going to bore you on any of the other stuff. I will give you the website and all this information. In fact, I will have this website in the link below so that you can see the statistics yourself. There's a lot of downloadable links, some history, some white papers, all this kind of stuff about safety, how they come up with the values, the statistics and things like that, 20-year studies, amazing data. Be safe out there, folks. Don't take electricity lightly. We love it. It changed my life. It's changed your life as your electrician. You are professors. You're the keeper of the voltage. You need to take pride in it and realize that there's a reason why we're electricians. There's a reason why we get to carry that title. Every apprentice out there or every helpers out there who call themselves an electrician, you are not an electrician. If you don't hold a license, you are not an electrician. You're working with electricity. You need to be safe. Once you get a chance to carry that card and take a lot of pride in having the title of electrician, okay, a real electrician, and electrical engineers are not electricians. They're two different trades, two different job sets, okay? So remember, you're hands-on, and like I say, it doesn't matter whether I retire or I pull the wire. Electricity doesn't change. Technology changes, new advancements, but you know what? The same wire that I pulled in raceways back in the 80s and 90s and 2000s is the same wire today. We have not changed the ampacity tables in the National Electrical Code since its incorporation many years ago, many cycles ago. Nothing's changed. We change and update rules, but we don't change the common principles. Okay, so it is what it is. A volt is a volt. An amp is an amp. A watt is a watt. Okay, electrical shock is an electrical shock, dude. Don't give me this shit about you've got years of experience over. It's all the same. Electricity doesn't care. It can take the biggest man or the smallest man and put him down in a heartbeat. Take a little pride in what you do and understand the statistics are there to save your life. So hopefully you got something out of that, man. Be safe out there. Until next time, folks, stay safe. God bless. And also a shout out, January 4th, the live shows start with electricianlive.com. Electricianlive.com. We're going to have a 30-minute show. Hopefully it sticks to 30 minutes, 3 10-minute segments, but we don't know where it's going to go. I want you to call in. Get Skype on your phone. Get Skype on your computer. Get Skype on your tablet. Get a Skype account. It's free. Call in using the call, not the video. We're not going to put your video on. You're going to call in, and you can chime in on the topics. We'd love to hear you. There's nothing like it. You know what? You can't have an opinion of it if you don't partake in it. So I look forward to you next time. Folks, be safe out there. Understand electricity kills. We are the professionals. We are the keepers of the voltage. Take pride in what you do. Till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless. You've been listening to Electrician Live with your host, Paul